Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In the last video, we have did a review on the Toyman, who is a Master 1. Today we're going to do a review on ANTO, who is a Master 2 player. Now without further ado, let's dive straight into it. Alright, this is quite a rather bad hand. So with a lone 9p tile when you already have 6p, it's okay to discard the 9p first and keep some on the tile. Right, the Naga is very careful about choosing which honor to discard. So in this case, he's trying to discard Sha first, which is the Shimocha. You don't want the Shimocha to Pong. So there's no much value in keeping this Sha. And I know that the player currently, Anto is currently trying to discard tiles based on like tile efficiency. So if you see that the first nun, right, one nun is out, so you just drop the nun. Second one is the Tong is out and therefore he dropped the Tong. So this is his thought process. But when you have a very bad hand, it's very important to keep the Yaku high first. Because the chances of you trying to hit a Menzen Pinfu is going to be quite low. So even if you pair up your Sha or your Pei for Pinfu, it's not likely to able to reach them by. But for this case, 3M is advised because of the potential Sanshoku, Tanyao, and it's also more dangerous than 8M. Right now, this hand is really quite fixed on Tanyao Sanshoku path. Trying to draw, hoping to draw 2M is not that useful anymore since you can actually focus on the Sanshoku. First discard is going by Tong. So this hand, probably the 2p first was that this player was trying to hope for a Honitsu hand. But this is actually more of a Mentampin hand. Alright, and Tong is already one out. If you were to do a Honitsu on this, it's likely only going to be 3.9k. So it's better to aim for Mentampin instead, which is a higher chance of getting a Mangan because you can potentially hit Ipeiko as well. Okay, here Naga advised to fix the Ipeiko here. Focus on finding the 5 blocks for this Mentampin hand. So you need all your blocks for example, using the 6p to change your set while using 6m as your pair, or finding pairs, making pairs from 2-4m, and then your 6-7m become your ramen. Your 6p is also act as a potential set to create your Sanshoku. Okay, so here Naga is still trying to advise to discard 7s. Right here is a Riichi on 6-9m. First of all, once you have a Pinfu with one extra Yaku, Riichi will make it 3,900 and that's already very good. If you Tsumo or Takame or hit one Ura, you get your Mangan easily. Not on top of that, you get to see 3 8Ms out. So this 9M is actually very, very strong. Right, as you can see, all other players have no 9M. Okay. Since Pei is out, this is more of a open hand. If you look at it, you have a pair, you have 4 pairs already. If you go for Toi Toi, that means you are intending to Pong the double Tong. Toi Toi, that will be a Mangan. So you actually want this hand to be a open base hand. Right? Since you only don't have open base, it's better to pair up the Hatsu. And since what Pei 1 is out, it's better to discard the Pei here. And then Nan is a Pong. Right, since there's no need to rely on Tong actually. Now that Tong is a Dora, right, a normal Toi Toi is going to be a Mangan as well. If you're going to get to Pong the Tong, then it becomes a Haneman. If any one of you are considering that should you skip this and aim for Qi Dui instead, I will say not so strong. But that's also because, that's why Naga is actually on 60%. It's not so strong because you have like 6p and 3s. and you currently have 4 pairs. 4 pairs of 7 pairs is actually 2 shanten, right? And 2 shantens as compared to a normal hand is actually you have to add additional shanten, which making it 3 shanten. Compare your toy toy, which if you pong a tong, right, you actually get to do a normal hand, which is a lot faster. You can also consider Atozuke as one of the options. Right, so it's more flexible to pong, and you also can add pressure. Right, since the nan is not being pong, right, Naga is looking more leaning slightly towards Chitui, and therefore advised to discard AM. But it's quite the same here. So here he decided to pong and move towards Toi Toi instead. Right, so this is not such a good practice for this player. When you have a starting hand, you always need to have a plan first, so that you don't get inconsistent. You see, right? It's like, why do you skip the first nan and then only to pong the 1p later on, and it's only like two hand difference. Maybe, forming a set and a 6-7p, but it's not a very strong point. Once one nan is out, you don't have a lot of chance to get the second nan. The second nan might be in dead war. Also, if your Dora is actually Tong, then let's say you are waiting on Tong and nan, then your outs become pretty much 1, and that's very detrimental. Okay, so I think this player eventually just go straight up normal and Atozuke the Tong and win on 5p. Okay, this is quite a common tile efficiency issue by many players. When you have a 1 and 5, right, if you draw a 3M, you actually form a Ryangkan shape. When you do not have your full 5 blocks, it's actually quite important. So once you draw a 3M here, right, and your 9M is going to be your pair, so your other sets is going to be 1 Kanjan, 1 Ryangkan, and 1 Ramen. Not very bad, but not fantastic, not bad. But at least, there's something to work with. I'm not able to explain why 7S here. I do think that headless is not bad here because you have 2 very bad shape, and you want 7S to form a set. Especially 2-8S is out. That means, the upper sozu is actually quite cheap. Like, you're more likely to draw the upper sozu easily. Like 6S, or if you draw the 8S itself, it's actually a very strong A-class ramen. Maybe this was the consideration, like, you need to keep this 9M as your potential pair, your 6-9M weight. And there's still chance for one of your kanjan to become pair. And then after that, you just need to focus on filling out one of the bad shape. Usually one of the bad shape is not that hard. It's still considered okay. Like, there's still hope for it. I think that will be the base theory. Right here, you have a Riichi. So is this hand a push or a fold? This player discarded AS to fold, while there is a 50-50 kind of thing between 7S and 5M. So 5M is a fully push decision. Naga thinks that is still okay to fight as well. If you're going to discard 7 and 8S, then you are really banging on drawing the 5M itself. I think both are similar. So I won't say which is better, but why 7S over 8S is because 8S is a universal save tile for all 3 players. Imagine if you discard 8S here, and then next turn, this player actually Riichi. Then you have no save tile. So it's important, if you want to bail here, discard 7S here. From now, this is just the order of building. You always try to discard all the Riichi players Genbutsu first, and therefore this is a 9M. This is to protect yourself from other players who counter attack. 5S, 4S are dead, 3S are also dead, 6S, 8S is pass. So if 5S get hit, it's going to be a Shampon. Alright, so this is all comparing the Shampon probability. That's why Naga actually choose 5S. First of all, Chun is a life tile. So of course, if you compare all the shampoo, right? If you throw Shun, you're going to give that player one hand. If you throw Aka 5S, you also give that player one hand. It's the same. So since they have the same value, then you might as well discard Aka 5S. This is quite difficult to spot. 9S is more of a very suspicious thing. It can even be tanky, at the back you decided to tanky a 9S since you early discard 7S. But most of the time, a player will not have a pair of 5S if, like Shampoo 5S, if the first discard is 7S. It's too unnatural. 9S is possible, a lot more possible than 5S Shampoo, even if the first discard is 7S. Even if it's not 7, even if it's not shampoo, right? Tanky 9S is actually very delicious with this discard pool, right? Yep, so that's why not so much of a 9S, but 5S. Okay, this is the two Shanten shape. Right, if you draw 3P here, you get a perfect Shanten. This player is trying to move towards a Tanyao, but this Tanyao hand is not actually very strong. You have to pong tiles like 5S or 7S. And I think Naga still see a quite good possibility that this hand can reach Menzen Tenpai. So discard 2S first since it's not really that useful. Your pair is already your 5S. If your 7 pair becomes a ramen like 5-8P, then of course you down 1-2P and move towards Hanyao. This is just the difference of Yaku High. Is it better to keep your own win than to keep a Yaku High? This is a balance between Chitoi, Hatsunomi Pong, or even Honizu. That's why it's a 3P here. Right, so let's say if you draw like 7S, then you can discard 9P to go for Chitoi. Especially when your Dora is done, right? It's very important to keep Chitoi. So discarding Hatsu here is not gonna help anything. 3S move is more of a very speed-based move. That means you ignore your Chitoi, you are planning to Pong Hatsu or Atuzuke, that kind of thing. Right, since this is a very bad shape, Naga advised to chi this and move towards a Tanyao. You don't really want to Riichi with such a hand anyway. This is more of a hand building thing. Keeping 9S is going to make your 5-6S shape even worse. This against a Riichi. It's more of a bail, semi-bail. Right, 9S is safer. 3P is a bit over relying on Suji. Right, this player can still be on pen 3P. Right, and also before you use Suji, right, consider why a person will try to have a Suji trap. Especially when you have someone who discarded a lot of upper numerical tiles, right? Suji trap will then become common for getting hit by 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 Sachuku. In this case, it's more likely to be 1, 2, 3. If I will have to guess. Since if you have 2, 3, 4, you're still likely to keep the 6P. Right? So before you use Suji, 3, 7 Suji, take note of the penchants. They are more likely than the 2, 4 Kanjan Suji trap. Okay, this is just a bail thing, I believe. 7S is safe for everyone, so you will not get sniped by anybody. Bad hand. Better to have some Yakuhai. This player now decided to slim down his hand by fixing the ramen here. Naga usually don't like such slimming prematurely. I think especially this hand has a Tanya potential. That's why there's a small chance of suggesting 2S. See, so I think Naga don't see a need to slim down. If you want to slim down, you might as well go for 1-2S and move towards a Tenhou shape. So this player is folding using 9p. Naga choose 1M. Wow, why? Why 1M? This looks like a Sakigiri. But Naga will then be confident that Oya doesn't have Uncle Hatsu and not waiting on Shampoo 1M. So this is interesting. I'm not able to explain why 1M here. I think 9p is okay. Pay is also fine. 9M is Oya Genbutsu, just discard it first. Feng 2M trying to move towards Tanyao and then discard Pei. I guess not much of a difference, no Pei or Haku here. Alright, 5p and 2p, right? Since 8p has passed, it's essentially a ramen thing. But yet, right, when you have Uncle 3p, 2p Shampoo chance is actually higher. So actually 5p, if you intend to push 2p, then 5p is actually safer. The only 5p due in here is actually to Oya's Itsu for 5p. So of course, for now, Naga suggested to buy time, discarding 6p first. And then if you get to Tenpai, be it draw 1p, I think 5p is going to be a push. If you get to Chi 4p, then it should be pushing 2p. But nevertheless, this is definitely prioritizing this shape because 3p is actually quite difficult to discard it here. You do not want to accidentally deal into Oya with this score distribution. Oya is now last place. And you only have one draw. So since you have one draw, Ishan 10, it's better to be a bit more conservative. Right? After all, you're only fighting for K10. Right, discarding 3M for Sun Shoku. For Naga, right, once you have two Doras, and especially this Dora Yakuhai is your... Sorry, especially this Dora is your Yakuhai. Naga sees no reason to aim for Yaku. Right, so if you discard 6M early, imagine you discard 6M early, you can do a quick 3M Pong Atotsuke none if needed. Or even, you see, at this point in time, right, even if you look at analog perspective, this player has already discarded 2M and 4M. So there's some chance that this player doesn't have any 3M. So this 3M type of VC is quite important given that your hand is very strong. Like you really want to win this hand as fast as possible. Which in the end, this player did backfire 3M. Right, this is against 2 Mels, second row, with only Pinzi discard at 3p. So this is more of a Ishan then push pull. Let's look at this hand. This is 3 Dora hand. You actually hope to win, right? But if you take a look at your ramens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your outs is only left with 3. So this is actually a bad shape Ishan 10. So for bad shape Ishan 10, especially given that you're on second place, it is important not to do into a third place. And end up you switch position with this player. So Naga advised not to push this 6p. Go half semi push. Since you already push 4M here, right? And 3M is already dying. This is going for this shampoo is the same as aiming for the ramen 36M. So discard 4M here, buy time. Of course, if it's tenpai, then you push. Most likely that will be Naga's plan. Alright, why 1M here is because this hand has no pair. When you have no pair, your no-betan shapes are very important. Right, so bear this in mind. I know this player wanted to aim for this Sanshoku, but it's already have two sets, two sequences. There's no room for Sanshoku. In the end, the pair is going to form out around the Sanshoku sets. This 1M discard is simply a top efficiency. 2M and 1M is already out. Against Riichi, this pair is already Riichi, right? If you can tenpai, just take tenpai first. Any kind of tenpai, right? There's no more time to wait. I believe this player did not cheat is also because he doesn't know how to fold after that. He's hoping to fold. So I think he's planning to discard things like 8S or like 3P, things like that. But the thing is, right, you only have 2 safe tiles. Actually, it's not really exactly safe. You do not know 3P is safe or not. 8S is also may not be safe. Right? They are not entirely safe tile. Since they are not entirely safe tile, you might as well push a also not an entirely safe tile and try to win the game instead and catch first place. Okay, since you missed the 4S and the weight is getting worse, so I think it's just gonna be a fold here. You have enough. You're starting to have enough safe tiles already, a 5M, 7M as well. So it's a fold from here. 5P just passed, so just continue 5P. This is more of a Sakiri. There's just no more reason to keep this 1M. Naga is probably still looking to pair Yaku highs because he wants to win fast and end this player's Oya since he's your closest rival. That should be his plan. Since you have a 2-3-4 Sachoku, there's no need for 5P here anymore. He's looking to just call this into Tanyao and take it down. Hatsu is more of a safe tile keeping, I believe. Here is 1S moving towards Tanyao. 4P. This is a Sakigiri. Typically, Naga will discard Dora at Ishan 10. Because once an Ishan 10, your hand is actually ready to fight. You actually need to Sakigiri in order to increase your win rate because you know you are likely to counter attack to try to push already. If you're on 2 Shanten, by the time you hit Ishan 10, someone else might be in Riichi, things like that. Then you could have bailed by then. But Ishan 10, most of the time, it is that grey area where you can afford to counter attack. So it's always better to keep safe tile at Ishan 10 as compared to like 2 or 3, 4 Shanten. Okay, so since Naga thinks that this 7S cannot be released in the third row, he decided to bail from 2M instead. So this is how he balanced, if Ishan 10s you have if you are decided to fight, then go all out, Sakiri Dora and fight. If you try to ferment this 7S, afterwards, then there's no reasons to discard it anymore. So here then you fold. So it's very consistent in how this hand is supposed to play. 7S not discarding there is actually more defensive play. So when you reach here, you must as well just fold here. Although I think it's still okay to discard 9S. Doesn't seem that much dangerous. But it could be a safe tile against like other 2 players in case. 4M is definitely a no-no. Right? This Oya might be waiting on 47M. Yeah, this is just standard 7M. No reason to discard 4M and make your discard pool even more irregular, which makes your Yakuha even harder to pong. Yeah, that's actually very difficult to chase second place anymore. This gap is more than 2.6k. So even if you reach Riichi, your hand is going to be 2.6k. And Tsumo, this Yaku high is not going to be easy. So it's better to just reduce the chance of getting hit by accidents, Oya, Mangan, that kind of thing. Just take this 1k down and end the game with third. Yeah, see, eventually, even if you get to Riichi, not only you sacrifice 1k at the risk of, going one-on-one versus Oya, then when you win, it doesn't help. When you decide to chase after value, trying to aim for second, make sure that your hand value is up to the standard. If not, just settle with what you have. Right, and that's all for this review. I hope you have learned a thing or two from this video. If you like this review, please remember to like and subscribe this video. And I'll see you in the next video.